How's it going, everybody? My name is LuckyBunz, and in today's video we're going to be breaking down the events for the month of January in Pokemon Go. Now with that being said, as always, if you guys do end up enjoying this video, please make sure to smash that like button down below, helps me out a ton with the YouTube algorithm. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so let's start off with the current season bonuses. You guys are going to get guaranteed extra large candy from trading Pokemon if you're level 31 or higher, and you're also going to get an increased chance to get extra large rare candy from 5-star raid battles, in person only. Next up, let's take a look at the Shadow Legendary Pokemon for the month of January. We're going to have two. We're going to have one from Giovanni and then one from the Shadow Legendary raids. The one from Giovanni hasn't actually changed, so that's still just going to be Regigigas if you guys decide you want to use your Super Rocket Radar. I would recommend against this though. Now when it comes down to the Shadow Legendary raid battles, we're going to have Moltres featured once again, and out of the three birds, Shadow Moltres is the one with the most meta relevance for the raid/gym meta, but even then I still wouldn't recommend investing into this Pokemon anymore unless you get the shiny Shadow. Let me explain why. So first of all, we just had Reshiram in raid battles. This is a much better option to use as a fire type attacker. It's also much cheaper because you can lucky trade it as well. And keep in mind, this is without Fusion Flare. If you want to give it the signature move Fusion Flare with an Elite TM, it's going to make it that much better. So yeah, all around, you just had Reshiram. You don't really need Shadow Moltres as a fire type attacker, but what about as a flying type attacker? So Shadow Moltres is on par with the Yveltal with Oblivion Wing, but both of these Pokemon require an Elite TM to get their legacy charge moves in order to be relevant. The difference is Shadow Moltres is going to cost you a lot more Stardust. Next up, let's talk about the Research Breakthrough Pokemon. So we're going to have Galarian Mr. Mime, Galarian Weezing, Jangmo-O, Lapras, Furfrou, and Goomy. All these Pokemon can be shiny. Following that, let's take a look at our Legendary Raid Pool, which is actually kind of exciting. We haven't had too many exciting Raid Pokemon, mainly because they haven't been getting their signature movesets. That is going to be a little bit different this time around. So first of all, we got to get through the Ultra Beasts though. So we're going to have Buzzwole, Xurkitree, and Pheromosa available from January 1st to January 10th. Buzzwole is going to be available in the Americas plus Greenland, Xurkitree is going to be available in the Asia-Pacific region, and Pheromosa is going to be available in Europe, Middle East, Africa, and India. I feel like this is Niantic's way of trying to increase their remote raid pass sales, which is kind of counterproductive given their whole mission statement in 2023, but whatever. So now let's talk about the meta relevance for each of these three Pokemon. We'll start off with Buzzwole, which is again going to be available in the Americas plus Greenland. So this Ultra Beast has play in the Open Great League, the Ultra League, and the Master League. It's a pretty great Pokemon to farm if you guys are actually interested in PvP. Unfortunately though, the only way to get this Pokemon in the Great League is if you got it from Special Research because its CP is too high when you get it from raid battles. You can still build one for the Ultra League though, you just need raid with somebody to get a better IV spread, ideally lower attack and higher defense and HP. For Master League, just shoot for the hundo, pretty straightforward, and it does rank at number 36, which is really solid in my opinion. Now when it comes down to Xurkitree, this is currently the best Electro-type attacker in the game right now, non-Shadow. It actually ranks better than Mega Manectric as well, but it still falls slightly below Shadow Raikou. In my opinion, this is definitely the best Ultra Beast in this rotation, but for some reason, Niantic decided to milk it even more by not releasing the shiny variant, because I think this is actually the third time that we've gotten Xurkitree coming back, so it's really like long overdue for a shiny. And now that I say that, that goes for every single one of these Pokemon, so Buzzwole and Pheromosa as well. Speaking of Pheromosa though, we'll talk about this Pokemon next. So this is one of the top bug type attackers in the game right now, but it's more of a glass cannon. So considering bug types aren't used that often in general, I would be a little bit more cautious on investing into this Pokemon or even rating it that hard. Now with the Ultra Beast out of the way, we can move on over to the Forces of Nature next. We'll start off with Tornadus in its Therian form, which is going to be available from January 10th to January 17th. Now this time around, the Forces of Nature are going to get their signature moves, so for Tornadus in its Therian form, it's going to get access to Bleak Wind Storm. Now we don't know all the fine details for these moves just yet outside of their announcement, so we don't know how they're going to be configured into the Game Master, but it's looking pretty good. I'm gonna guess that Tornadus is going to sneak into the flying type meta with this addition to its moveset. It wasn't really that relevant as a flying type attacker before, but this could be a game changer for it. The next Force of Nature is going to be a little bit more interesting, and the reason I say that is because it's already meta relevant right now, and that's going to be Thundurus in its Therian form, which is going to be available from January 17th to January 24th. So again, like Thundurus is already a top Electro-type attacker in the game right now, but it's a few points below Xurkitree. So I'm really curious to see where it lands with Wild Bolt Storm. And then finally, our last Force of Nature is going to be Landorus in its Therian form from January 24th to January 31st, and it's going to get access to Sandsear Storm. Now Landorus in its Therian form is already a pretty good ground-type attacker in the current meta, but its best charge move at the moment is Earthquake. So Sandsear Storm is most likely going to be a really nice upgrade, kind of similar to how Groudon got access to Precipice Blades. I'm pretty pretty sure this is going to get the same treatment. The ground type meta is always the most interesting in my opinion because there are so many good Pokemon you guys can build for it, and yet they always continue to keep outclassing each other. And if I didn't mention this already, the forces of nature are going to have their shiny forms available, so I really can't think of a better time to be raiding these Pokemon. So overall, the legendary raid pool is looking pretty good. I'm definitely excited about it. Now let's take a look at some of the mega raids though. So again, the shiny forms are going to be available for each of these mega Pokemon. We'll start off with Mega Ampharos first from January 1st to January 10th. This has a great typing for candy bonuses, Dragon and Electric, and is currently the second best electric type mega in the game right now. That being said though, compared to the overall meta, it's actually lower than some of your other options. So unless you don't have Mega Manectric, that's the only reason I would really raid for this, just to get some energy. Mega Medicham is going to be up next from January 10th to January 24th. Once again, this has a great typing for candy bonuses, fighting and psychic, and you can essentially just use your Great League build for this mega. That's pretty much what I did. It doesn't have any raid relevance, and you're mainly just going to use it for candy farming once it gets to Mega Level 3. Now finally, our last mega Pokemon is going to be Mega Steelix from January 24th to January 31st. Once again, this has a great typing for candy bonuses as well, Ground and Steel, but it has zero play in raids as an attacker, and the only reason you would want to use in raid battles is for that mega damage bonus to help your teammates. Now very similar to Medicham, you could build one of these for Ultra League and then use that as your functioning mega. That's probably the best thing I would do. I already had the Hundo that was already level 40. I did this like a long time ago, but I kind of regret it now. Like if I had to do that all over again, I would build an Ultra League spread and then use that as my mega. Now as always, I like to go through some additional information on mega Pokemon just for any newer returning players. So you only need to evolve these Pokemon once to get access to their cooldown period moving forward. You're also going to get more extra large candy when your mega Pokemon gets to Mega Level 3, which is unlocked after 30 days of Mega Evolution. And additionally, when you complete Mega Raids, you're going to get guaranteed charge TMs. So my recommendation is to always do at least 1 to 2 of these Mega Raids, get the energy, and get your free charge TMs. And then after that, when you want to use them in raid battles, for example, they also provide an additional boost to any Pokemon using the same typing for moves. So for example, let's say you have Mega Venusaur in the raid, Poison and Grass type moves are going to be boosted until that Pokemon gets KO'd. And then finally, raid hour is going to be every Wednesday from 6 to 7 p.m. your local time. Whichever Pokemon is currently in rotation is going to be the one featured that Wednesday. So for example, we're going to start off with Buzzwole, Azurkitree, and Pheromosa, depending on your region. And then we'll just go from there. Tornadus is going to be up next, Thundurus after that, and then finally Landorus. Now before we dive into the next section of this video, I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, which is going to be my second channel. So for those of you guys who enjoy Pokemon Scarlet and Violet content, or just in general Pokemon main series content, I've been uploading a lot more videos on the second channel with the new DLC release for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. So if you guys haven't checked out my second channel yet, I would highly encourage you to do so. There's tons of helpful content on there, very similar to what I do on the main channel right here. Next up, let's take a look at the upcoming events for the month. These event windows are going to be based on your local time zones. So first event of the year is of course going to be the New Year's event. We're going to have a special Jigglypuff, which I have a friend that's really excited about that one. This is going to run until January 3rd. Following the New Year's event, we're going to have Rowlet Community Day on January 6th, and we're also going to start another event this day as well, the Lustrous Odyssey. I don't know what this event is going to be about. Maybe you guys have some suggestions in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear them. On January 14th, we're going to have a raid day for Hisuian Typhlosion, which I'm super excited about. You guys already know that's like my favorite Pokemon, so definitely going to be playing this one. And then actually a day before, we're going to start a new event as well. We're going to start the Dazzling Dream event from January 13th to January 16th. It's actually interesting that it's only like a 4-day event. That's really short. Following that, we're going to have Calm Day Classic on January 20th. This hasn't officially been announced, but it's rumored to be Porygon. And then from January 19th to January 24th, we're going to have the Raging Battles and Go Battle Week. Kind of an interesting time to have a Go Battle Week considering that it starts on a Friday and then goes until Wednesday. That's a really weird week format if you ask me, but whatever. And then we have 2 more events to go over. We're going to have the Shadow Ho-Oh Raid Weekend on January 27th to January 28th. And then finally, the last event of the month going into February is going to be the Taken Treasures event from January 27th to February 1st. Now finally, let's go over the spotlight hours for this month, which are going to be every Tuesday from 6 to 7 p.m. your local time. Shiny forms are going to be available for every Pokemon I'm about to mention, so just keep that in mind. On January 2nd, we are going to have Cast Form with the special bonus being 2x catch experience. And while the XP bonus is nice, it's nothing too crazy compared to some of the other methods of getting experience in game, so I wouldn't recommend dropping any lucky eggs during this spotlight hour. Cast Form as well in its normal form isn't actually that relevant for anything in game, PvP, raids, nothing. Alright, moving on over to the next spotlight hour, we're going to have Eevee on January 9th with a special bonus being 2x catch candy. Now without a doubt, this is one of the best spotlight hours I've seen in a while, and maybe I'm a little biased here because I would eventually love to have every single Eevee evolution maxed out to level 50. And this event is going to be a great opportunity to candy grind. Generally speaking though, I actually think this is a great Pokemon for any new players who are coming back into the game. It's a fantastic shiny to get because of its split evolutions, and it also has some relevance in PvP as well as raids. Just to give you guys an example, if you get the Hundo, Umbreon is amazing in the Open Ultra League, and then for raid/gym meta, Glaceon and Sylveon are fantastic budget raid type attackers. So personally, I'm very excited about EV Spotlight Hour, but we actually have another great Spotlight Hour coming up next on January 16th, and that is going to be for Ralts, with the special bonus being 2x transfer candy. So another fantastic Spotlight Hour, and one that we've also had before, but when evolved to Gardevoir, this is one of the best fairy type attackers in the game, and it also has a Mega Evolution which propels it to the very top of the meta. The bonus is also fantastic as well because it can be taken advantage of right at the beginning of Spotlight Hour, and then the rest of the hour can just be spent focused on catching. So what I would do is I would create a search tag, group together all of your rare Pokemon, extra legendary Pokemon leading up to this event, and bonus points if you mirror trade them with someone beforehand. The next Spotlight Hour is going to take place on January 23rd. That's going to be for Barboach, and the special bonus is going to be 2x Evolve Experience. Now after the recent Season 17 updates to the meta, Wishcash, which evolves from Barboach, got a huge buff. It's currently ranked at number 24 right now in the Open Great League, so if you guys don't have a good PvP/IV spread on this Pokemon, I would strongly recommend hunting one down if the weather conditions are favorable. It's kind of tough because most of us do have sunny weather on a regular basis, and this Pokemon does get boosted by sunny weather. Now for those of you guys who already have a Great League Wishcash build, or maybe you just want to focus on the XP aspect, I would gather about 70 evolutions in a search tag per Lucky Egg, and if you can, try to coordinate any friendship level ups during this time as well. Now finally, our last Spotlight Hour is arguably going to be the most important one, and that's going to be on January 30th. It's going to be featuring Foongus, with the special bonus being 2x Catch Stardust. Now let me explain why this is so good, because I'm sure a lot of you guys don't really understand why Foongus is such a good Pokemon. So Foongus is one of the special Pokemon that receives more Stardust when caught. You're actually going to get 500 Stardust per catch instead of 100 Stardust. This is 650 Stardust if it has the sunny or cloudy weather boost, combined with the Star Piece, and you're looking at 938 Stardust per catch. And then we also have the 2x Catch Stardust bonus as well, so combining everything together, you're going to get 1,876 Stardust per catch on your Foongus. If you don't have the weather boost, it's going to be slightly less, but still guys, that's like a ridiculous amount of Stardust, and you could get hundreds of Foongus during this Spotlight Hour. This is easily one of the best Spotlight Hours we are ever going to have in the game, and if you guys are able to get this time off to grind, I would seriously recommend it so much. Like, we're talking about hundreds of thousands of Stardust that can be gained during this 1 hour. Now for reference, we also had a Sableye and Paris Spotlight Hour this past year, and I grinded those ones out. I got over like 200 to 300,000 Stardust in that 1 hour alone. With that being said though, that's basically going to cover January in a nutshell. Overall, it's looking really good in my opinion. Like, we're going to get the Forces of Nature with their signature moves. They're also going to have their shiny forms available. We're going to have a ton of events spread throughout the month, which are focused on Stardust grinding. And overall, Pokemon Go hasn't really been this good since October. So it's really nice to see that we're going to start off 24 with a banger. As always though, if there's anything you guys are looking forward to specifically, let me know in the comment section down below. But if you want to check out some more content, I'm going to recommend these 2 videos right here. And before you go, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you all real soon in the next one.